Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Out of Spec podcast. You join me, Francie, and Jordan here today to talk about some new news from an automaker that we've really been excited to see what they're doing in the EV space, and that is Kia. So we've got some new specs for the model year 2025 Kia EV6. While it's not for the US or North American market yet, we are looking to what is available for this new 2025 EV6 in Korea and Australia at this point. So let's dive into the details. This episode is made possible by the support we get from Fort Collins Kia. If you are in the market for any electric Kia, not only do they never add market adjustments, they will deliver your car to you anywhere in the 48 contiguous states for out of spec viewers. More information in the link in the show notes. Hey, Jordan, thanks for plugging in with us today on this. What do you think about the Kia EV6 2024 model year? Was it clear that it needed improvements? Are you excited that there will be improvements in the model year 2025?
Always excited for improvements, but honestly, the outgoing model, which is weird to say because it still feels slightly futuristic, is plenty fine. That's the thing about the eGMP cars. Even new cars from other manufacturers still can't hold a candle to the charging performance and road trip capabilities of most of the eGMP cars. That is the Kia EV6, the Hyundai Ioniq 5, Hyundai Ioniq 6, even the Kia EV9. Like, they're pretty ahead of the game, but they have gone and updated, I will say, minor updates to this, but still worth talking about. We have some details, like Francie said, that are coming to the EV6 in that market, but a lot of it probably will translate to the US. Of course, when the North American specs are unveiled, we'll of course do another episode to update you all on that. But at least we have some of the design language, and probably a lot of the details will translate over, like we are literally translating from the Korean website today. So I'm intrigued. I love updates for anything. So I'm the weirdo that buys like the new phone every year, even though it looks like last year's phone.
Yes, exactly. I mean, I think that you're not alone in that. And when I have folks come up to me and they ask, okay, besides Tesla, what automakers are you looking at in the EV space? Like, who else could I look at if I'm interested in an EV? And the Hyundai group, Hyundai Kia, has been pretty interesting to watch. Like you said, their charging capabilities. Also, I think that their designs are appealing to a lot of different people. They have a decent lineup, and their concept cars that we've seen also, hopefully, if they come to be in the future, that's this interesting platform that is customizable and everything. But I've been overall, just to say that I have liked what they're doing, like I said at the top of this podcast. So let's look at, we're on the Korean Kia website if you're tuning in on YouTube. So it's translated to English. Actually, I think I'm on the wrong one. Shit.
Yeah, you're
I'll
showing
edit
the
that out.
outgoing model, but
Where is it?
I can at least start and talk about design, and there are not many changes, especially on the rear. But the front is notably an entirely new LED signature, which is I don't think it's great. I could actually share my screen, Francie, if you like.
I-
I
I've
also
got it
have.
pulled up now. The
Oh, great!
Korean Kia
There it
website
is.
where we're getting this information, because like we said, the like Kia of America hasn't put out a press release for this quite yet, so we went straight to the source, Korea.
Yep. So I mean, it looks pretty good, but very angular, jagged, triangular type LED lighting on the front signia. The whole front fascia is updated, even the vents on the bottom. Like, it's all different. I do like it. I don't know if it's better or worse than the other one. I'm sure that'll be somewhat subjective by those of you out in the audience. Let us know what you think of the design updates, because front is where it's very noticeable. The rear is also a little bit changed. Notably, at the end of that long bar taillight, there's actually a little bit of a triangle. I don't know if they have any photos of the rear, but it's less different on the rear. But it's still very obviously a Kia EV6. Like, just that shape is very much what that car is, and it looks unlike really most other Kias. Although some Kias are now going kind of crazy with the lighting anyway, so all power to them.
Yeah, having fun with the design. And yeah, so I agree where it's not a super huge change where it would be like, "Oh wow, is this a totally new EV from Kia?" It does still hold those EV6 qualities. But let's talk about the specs, huh? And what is and isn't different so far. So I'm not sure how much of this will translate directly to English, but let's see. What are the? I mean, what about battery chemistry? Has any of that changed? Has the significant size of the vehicle changed? Anything with charging, Jordan?
That's the most notable thing is the battery now going from a 77.4, I think, kilowatt hour up to an 84 kilowatt hour. So it's about an 8%, 8 to 9% improvement on the battery. And then they said, I think the range is a 4% improvement. So that's interesting. Better range,
Okay.
great. Bigger battery, great. But that's not a linear upgrade. So, and all in all, the car is actually technically less efficient, at least according to those numbers. Now, we'll of course have to see what the EPA does with it, with their testing, which will probably be the new EPA testing in this case. But Meridian sound system, vehicle to load capabilities, an all new design steering wheel. Actually, two different new design steering wheels: a two spoke for most models, and then a three spoke for the GT line.
Mm,
New improved screens, which have the same, mostly the same software experience as we've seen, but they're now behind a singular curved panel to make it look, I guess, a bit more futuristic. And it does add
sure.
wireless CarPlay and Android Auto, which many EV6 owners are excited about.
Yes, people do love that compatibility with their smartphone. Just make it another accessory to my smartphone, basically, my EV. Okay, so with the specific to the EV side of things, right? The charging. I think we've seen reported in some cases. Let me back up a little bit. Kia and Hyundai are also pretty impressive because they allow the 800-volt architecture for charging, which is, probably the future of charging. People are hoping to see the Tesla V4 superchargers that we don't necessarily see yet. We see the dispensers, not the cabinets, but powerful charging. And of course, in that sense, we want EVs that can take advantage of this. And from what I was reading, this is obviously still capable of that. But folks were reporting on charging speeds of 350 kilowatts, Jordan. But as far as we know, that is not really the case, right?
Yeah, so the tip it's a very Hyundai Kia thing, unfortunately, to advertise the charging capabilities, typically like a 10 to 80% number, using a 350 kilowatt charger. It really annoys me that they give that wording, but partially because, I mean, some outlets just pick that up and they're like, "Oh, so it charges at 350 kilowatts." That's not true. I do not think this one will be capable of that either. Notably, the outgoing car could do 240 kilowatts or so, which is still impressive. And hopefully, this new car will do the same, maybe even a little bit higher. But there's definitely, I highly doubt there's a way it's charging at 350 kilowatts. But many outlets are incorrectly reporting that. I just want to clear the air. That's highly unlikely, and I don't see that wording anywhere on their website. So I think it's just misreading the details. Even but then again, it still is an impressively well charging car. Fantastic for road trips, like I said. And the slight improvement to range, no one's going to complain about that. It's still going to be pretty fantastic.
I agree. Yeah, I think that this is continuing on a product that is well liked and has just potential to get better and better. Of course, with better charging speeds, like you're saying, this road trip part of things that everyone wants to see get better and better. If you're using public charging, also that it can be a quicker stop, that is important. Is there anything else that we really want to note about this before we get the US specs so that we know what will be coming over to this market? And also, do you think it's going to be drastically different than what they're going to get in Korea and Australia?
I doubt it'll be much different, but again, we just want to give that caveat that it could be. And it'd be curious to see if the light short range one like has an option in the next generation Kia EV6, or if they cut that, because I think Hyundai Ioniq 5 updates also coming on the same platform, which is also updated. I
Right.
don't think they have any listing for a short range, like a smaller battery. I think they're moving all pretty much to the bigger battery. It's still not a huge battery. Like, ironically, the big battery, quote unquote, for the EV6 and Ioniq 5 is a relatively small battery compared to many of the other cars out there, like the ones that are approaching 100 kilowatt hours. Um, there's supposedly extra sound deadening around the rear motor. I wonder if the motor's the same. We don't know that for sure.
Mhm.
Revised dampers for better ride quality. Even the B pillar was revised for added rigidity. So there's a bunch of minor updates. Like we said, it's a mid-cycle refresh, and I don't know what all will translate to the US market. Maybe even more things might come out for the US market. Well, I guess North American market technically. We should get the same car as Canada, for example. But I don't know. There's still unknowns, but I still think it's worth mentioning. Oh, there's also a rear view camera, a digital rear view camera. We've had the digital side view cameras for when you flip on your turn signal for the higher end cars that have the 360 view camera. Now you'll have a digital rear view camera that I assume is probably a higher trim feature, just like some of the other cars. So that's about all we know, though, as far as I know.
Yeah, that's all we know. I feel like when we introduce these kind of, it's this is what the EV looks like in this market. We're not sure what it is in this market. I love to see the comments of what folks really would like to come to their market, wherever they are, whether you're in the UK or Canada or the US, whatever it is, where you're like, oh, that is a feature that I have been wanting. I hope it's carried over into this new model or into this market. So let us know also, if this is an EV of interest to you, I'd be interested to know how many people have really been considering Kia EVs when either for a dream car or just considering them as a good EV option that they might be suggesting or actually considering for themselves. And like Jordan said, once we get the specifics press release for what's going to be coming to other markets, we will follow up on that to see what is aligning and what might be different. That's an interesting, difference that might come up.
Yep. So leave us with your thoughts. Very curious to see what you think of the refresh. Is it enough refresh? Is it not enough? Everyone seems to have opinions, so let us know yours.
That's very true. Is it enough changes that it'll satisfy some folks? We'll see. Thanks, Jordan, for hopping on the podcast for a quick one, and hope you have a great rest of your day, as do I. For everyone who's tuning into the podcast, thank you for plugging in with us today for this short one. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you next time on the next episode of the Out of Spec podcast. Bye.